What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the specs of the Google Nexus 5, which is manufactured by LG, to the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. Now I've had quite a few requests for this. I wasn't actually going to do this video today, but because of all the requests I thought I'd put it together for you guys. Now the Nexus 5 has just been officially announced today. We've had plenty of leaks, so a lot of what was expected is on the Nexus 5, but how does it compare to the beast that is the Note 3? Currently one of the highest spec Android smartphones out there. Well, do hit that thumbs up button and let's find out in this head-to-head spec comparison. So starting off with the biggest noticeable difference, which is the size. The Note 3 is quite a bit larger, 13.3mm in terms of height, 10mm in terms of width. It is slightly thinner, 0.3mm thinner compared to the Nexus 5, but overall quite a bit larger, and that is because the Note 3 is considered a phablet rather than a smartphone. It does have a larger screen. It's a 5.7-inch screen compared to the 4.95-inch screen on the Nexus 5. So you've got a much larger screen, and the advantage of having a larger screen on the Note 3 is the fact that you may not need a tablet. It eliminates the need of having a smartphone and a tablet. You've got a larger device, but it really depends on your personal preference. In terms of the resolution, both of these have a full 1080p HD resolution, 1920 by 1080, which is great to see on these devices. 1080p on smartphones is absolutely great. 386 ppi on the Note 3 versus 445 ppi on the Nexus 5. And although they've got the same resolution, the ppi difference comes because of the difference in screen size. So the Nexus 5 does have a slightly higher ppi, nothing too noticeable, and the fact that the Note 3 is larger probably means that you're going to be holding it slightly away from you compared to the Nexus 5. So I don't think this is something that you're going to be noticing much between these two. Now because the Note 3 is larger, it also weighs more, 38 grams more compared to the Nexus 5. So the Nexus 5 is a lot more compact compared to the Note 3. Now the build, both of these have a plastic build, but you've got different styles of plastic. The Note 3 has the leather style material, so it feels like leather. It's plastic made to feel like leather. It does feel quite nice. I do actually quite like it. It's quite grippy, and it's got the fine stitching around the edges as well. You've got the black, the white, and the pink versions. The back is changeable though, so you can have lots of different variety there as well. The Nexus 5 comes with the soft touch plastic. Now this is similar to the Nexus 7. It's a soft touch plastic, feels quite nice, and it does feel quite premium as well, and it's got this sort of silky feel to it as well. So in the hand it is quite grippy and it does feel quite nice. You've got the black, and then you've got the black and the white version. The reason I say that rather than just the white is because the back is white but the front is still black on the white version of the Nexus 5. Now the processors, both of these have the same processor, the quad-core 2.3 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor, and both of them also have the same GPU, the Adreno 330. So in terms of performance, you can expect very similar performance between these two. The Note 3 however does come with an additional octa-core version, which has 4 processors at 1.9 GHz and the other 4 at 1.3, so you've got an additional option here on the Note 3. But generally speaking, in terms of performance, both of these are powerhouses and are going to be delivering some great speeds and excellent performance. The Note 3 however does have more RAM. You've got 3 GB of RAM versus 2 GB of RAM on the Nexus 5. This is mainly because of the multitasking abilities of the Note 3, some of which we'll be talking about a little bit later. In terms of the different versions available, you've got the 16 and 32 GB versions on the Nexus 5. On the Note 3, you've got the 32 and 64 GB versions. And the Note 3 also has expandable storage as well, so you can expand the storage by up to 64 GB via a micro SD card slot. The Nexus 5 does not have this option, so the Note 3 definitely has a big advantage here. Firstly, of the larger base versions, as well as that expandable storage. In terms of the ray-facing cameras, the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 comes with the 13 megapixel ray-facing camera. The Nexus 5 comes with an 8 megapixel ray-facing camera, so you've got high resolution on the Note 3. The Note 3 camera is probably one of the best smartphone cameras out there at the moment. You can see comparisons of it to the Samsung Galaxy S4 as well as the iPhone 5s that I've done on the channel, so do go ahead and check those out. Links will be in the description below. The Nexus 5, although it's got a low resolution, does come with Optical Image Stabilisation, so that's a big advantage that the Nexus 5 has here. You're not going to have to worry too much about blurry shots if you don't have a steady hand on the Nexus 5. That's an advantage that it has on here. You've got HDR Plus mode as well, well. So although the Note 3 does have HDR mode, you've got HDR Plus mode, which is supposed to give you more dynamic range. We'll have to see these side by side to get a proper comparison. The Note 3 also comes with some additional features such as dual camera, so you can use the front and rear facing cameras at the same time. Now in terms of video, both of these do the standard 1080p at 30 frames a second, which is pretty much expected out of most smartphones these days. But the Note 3 also has some additional options. You've got 1080p at 60 frames a second, 720p at 120 frames a second, and you've also got 4K recording, so a 2160p at 30 frames a second. So 4K recording, absolutely insane on a smartphone. You can see the quality once again in one of the videos, which will be linked in the description below. The only problem is with that resolution is you have to hold the camera very still, and you do get a lot of shake because of that high resolution. You don't have any sort of video stabilization on there, so that's the only disadvantage. But 4K resolution on a smartphone is absolutely insane. Now front facing cameras, you've got a 2 megapixel front facing camera on the Note 3. The Nexus 5 has a 1.3 megapixel front facing camera, and that's capable of filming 720p HD versus the 1080p on the Note 3. So the Note 3 definitely has another advantage here in terms of the resolution, the high resolution in terms of the front facing camera. Now the operating system, both of these come with Android, but you've got Android Jelly Bean 4.3 on the Note 3, and it comes with the TouchWiz UI on top, Samsung's TouchWiz UI on top. The Nexus 5 comes with the latest version of Android, which is KitKat 4.4. And that's a big advantage that you've got with the Nexus devices. You're going to have that stock Android experience, no skins on top, and you're also going to be getting updates directly from Google. You're not going to have to wait around. Like with the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, I'm not sure when we're going to get KitKat 4.4. It's not going to be at least for another few months, and that's for sure. I mean, with the Samsung Galaxy S4, mine is currently still on a version 4.2.2. I'm still waiting for 4.3. So that just goes to show that with the Samsung devices, you do have to wait for Samsung to bring those updates to you. With the Nexus 5, you've got that big advantage of getting updates directly from Google themselves. Now looking at some of the additional features that these devices offer, the Nexus 5 has wireless charging out of the box, which is great to see. You can charge the device wirelessly. The Note 3 comes with the S Pen. Now this is quite unique, and this separates the Note 3 from other devices out there. You've got that S Pen feature, and it comes with some advanced technology, so you can circle items and put them into a scrapbook. It's got advanced handwriting recognition as well, and what I really like is the fact that you can draw boxes on screen and open other windows in there. So multi-window support. Now this is the RAM that we were talking about, is really nice on the Note 3, and one of the best out there, no doubt. You've also got Air View and Air Gesture, so you've got some of these other additional features on here. The Note 3 also has USB 3. This is the first smartphone with USB 3. You're going to be able to get much faster transfer speeds, up to 10 times, and also faster charging speeds through your computer as well, so that's quite nice to see on the Note 3. In terms of the batteries, the Nexus 5 comes with a 2300 mAh battery. Now this is not removable. The Note 3 comes with a mammoth 3200 mAh battery, a massive battery, and it's also removable, so you can replace it or you can carry around a spare as well. So definitely the advantage goes here to the Note 3. Lots of Galaxy Note users as well, this is one thing that they really like about the Note series, that massive battery, so you're not going to have to worry too much about getting through the day and also then some, so that's a big advantage that the Note 3 has. Now finally, looking at the price, the Note 3 for the 32GB version, so that's the base version. This is SIM free off contract. This is just to see what the value difference is between these devices. £550 roughly here in the UK, or roughly about $700 in the US. That's how much you can pick it up for offline. If you compare that to the Nexus 5, the 32GB model, yes, the 16GB model is cheaper, but if we compare like for like, the 32GB model, £339 in the UK or $399 in the US. So a massive price difference between these two. The Note 3 coming in quite a bit more compared to the Nexus 5, and the Nexus 5, once again with the Nexus series that Google are offering, they're offering them at quite a budget price with some very high specs. So those are the key differences between these two devices. The Note 3 does offer some additional features such as the S Pen, the USB 3, the larger screen as well, but the Nexus 5 comes in with some very high specs, the same processor at a very low price, so you're going to be paying much less for the Nexus 5. Which one will you be going for? Which one do you think is better? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, as always, please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And if you do want to see a full hands-on video of the Nexus 5, it has been pre-ordered and it will be coming in to the channel for a full hands-on review. Then make sure you are subscribed to the channel for that, as well as lots of other tech videos. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time. If you want to see more regular videos like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, which will be below. If you're on a mobile device, it may be somewhere else. If you want to see my previous related video, then hit the link right here. If you want to stay in touch over Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, then all of the addresses will be there somewhere, as well as direct links in the description below.